about the World Heavyweight Championship. You gotta love it.
This is like something out of Transformers. He's just thinking, what else can I do to this monster? Guys, now what? Tell me.
Big Show.
What are we seeing here? Where's Big Show going? Oh, and Alan Clark Henry.
Wow.
Playing defense.
And I hope this ring is reinforced.
Oh, no. Don't tell me.
If this happened right here, this could be...
Look out!
You gotta be kidding me. You gotta be exactly... Wow. The show's over.
If you smell what The Rock is cooking.
WBCB presents Pro Wrestling Weekly.
Tell me he didn't just say that.
Call in with a question or comment at 215-949-3232 or 888-922-2149.
The Tower of Power, too sweet to be sour, funky like a monkey, oh yeah.
And now, here's your host of Pro Wrestling Weekly, Faran Derry.
It doesn't matter what your name is.
Really? Yeah!
And the ring collapsed at the pay-per-view. Welcome to Pro Wrestling Weekly here on 1490 WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com. Faran Derry here with you, bringing you the results of Vengeance, which included a no contest between Big Show and Mark Henry because a superplex off the second rope caused the ring to collapse, and both participants being carted out without a decided winner. It looks like we're going to get a rematch, more than likely at Survivor Series, but that hasn't officially been announced. Also, Alberto Del Rio, with a little bit of help from some others, beating John Cena in a last man standing match to retain the WWE Championship, also at Vengeance. Those are your two main title matches. We can certainly talk about that. We also have the Impact results from this past Thursday. We have a number one contender for the TNA title. Sorry about your luck. It is Bobby Roode. That's right. Bobby Roode challenging James Storm. That'll be going down this coming Thursday as TNA goes on the road in Macon, Georgia. So we've got that to talk about. I'm glad we're able to talk about something today because as of 3 hours ago, this show wasn't happening. But thanks to Mother Nature, it snowed out a game that was supposed to be scheduled for 11 o'clock this morning. So we are here with you. We'll talk also about this upcoming Raw on Monday where, among other things, The Rock will respond to John Cena's selection of him as a tag team partner to face The Miz and R-Truth, as well as the guest appearance, I can't believe I'm saying this, by the Muppets. That's right. Kermit, Fozzie, Miss Piggy, the whole Muppet crew. They're going to be on Raw this Monday. Kind of want to get your thoughts on that. And we also want to look back, with this being Halloween weekend. I love looking back at some of these. Some of your favorite or most memorable Halloween Havoc moments. Of course, you remember that WCW pay-per-view that went on from 1989 to 2000. Want to get some of your, there are certainly some notable moments, and if you've been checking the Facebook page over the course of the last week, WBCB Pro Wrestling Weekly, I've certainly highlighted a lot of those with the Today in Wrestling History, and we have a couple on slew for today as well, or on the slate for today, and we can certainly get your opinions on that. Anyway, numbers 215-949-3232. You can also chime in toll-free at 888-922-2149. If you're a little afraid to get on the radio live, that's not necessarily your deal. Believe me, it's not as intimidating as it seems. You can hardly sound worse than I do. But you can also chime in on that Facebook page, WBCB Pro Wrestling Weekly. And I posted on there recently, you apparently can teach an old dog new tricks. The last couple of weeks' shows, I now have archived. If you missed last week or the week before, you can check it out via YouTube. Just type in WBCB Pro Wrestling Weekly. We've got the replay of the interview with Kurt Angle. Plus, we've got last week's show as well, just in case you missed it. I'll be doing that from now on, although I've heard offers of some help to possibly get the show also on iTunes. So if you know a little bit about that, John, I think I'm looking in your direction. We'll have to collaborate, see if we can get that going. But at least for now, starting to archive shows on YouTube. Just type in the search WBCB Pro Wrestling Weekly. Let's go ahead and get to the phones. Let's kick things off with Dan from Chicago. Dan, welcome to Pro Wrestling Weekly.
Here's one guy that's never afraid to come on the radio. What's going on?
Hey, what's on your mind, Dan?
Not too much, actually. Vengeance was okay. The whole Lesnar Big Show thing was kind of, you know what I mean, lame, because they revisited it.
Well,
with the ring exploding.
Here's my take on it. I think that enough time has passed. I mean, I'm going a little old school with the Jim Cornette line, that if you can redo a particular storyline or angle or something, if it hasn't been done in 7 years, it's his 7-year rule. So in this case, I believe that Lesnar Big Show, that same superplex spot where the ring collapsed, that was 2003, so that was 8 years ago. You know, a lot of the current crop of fans, at least the younger fans, don't exactly remember that. So I mean, I'm okay with it in that regard, and it certainly looked impressive. Granted, now every time you see Big Show go to the top, you're thinking, "Oh, here comes here comes the ring collapsing." Right.
Did you see my post? I put which one was better. Which one do you think was better, Big Show's, this one or the one with Lesnar?
I did not see that, although I'm trying to pull it up now. But the snowy weather here seems to be affecting the connection as far as the internet and things. I'll have to look at that in just a moment, see if we can get the Facebook feedback going. I don't know. I think just because of the size factor, and I know I'm gonna be guilty of sounding like Vince McMahon here. I would think that this one's more impressive just because you have more mass between the two individuals. I mean, obviously the Big Show's still big. He's still around 500 pounds. But, I mean, add the 400-pound Mark Henry to it, you're looking at almost a half-ton there as opposed to, 750 pounds, 800 pounds maybe with Lesnar and Big Show. So in that regard, I think, the spot was the same in both instances. So, yeah, I would have to lean toward this one just from the size factor.
I guess John, not to change the subject, John put on the Facebook page that Maurice got let go today by WWE.
Yes, Maurice the Diva was let go yesterday. She apparently wanted the release, though. That's what I kind of found interesting. She actually had a tweet: "I'm out and sexier than ever. Thanks to all my fans, colleagues, and the WWE Universe. Time to party. Release party tonight at Trousdale, LA. I'm happy, I'm smiling, and free. Now it's time to get naughty," which I think that's kind of interesting.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, you never know what's going on with these tweets, and I'm starting to get a little bit better. I'm not becoming as Twitter obsessed as WWE is, and thanks for kind of reminding me, because that, or at least haphazardly reminding me, that's something else I wanted to get into. Do you think WWE is becoming a little over obsessed with Twitter?
Oh yeah. This isn't Twitter Raw. This is WWE Raw. We don't need the. Oh yeah, they're getting way overboard with the Twitter. Oh yeah. So what now? The Muppets are going to be tweeting on Monday?
I don't know. I'm not that much of a, I maybe have 14 followers and maybe 20 tweets at best, and I've only gotten the thing a couple of weeks ago. But it's good for interesting news and bits and pieces. I mean, granted, there's a lot of silly things that come up as well.
It seems like it's every match. Now, remember before when in the Attitude Era, you would have them having their own website when the internet was starting to get popular. You know what I mean? They would say, go to TripleH.com or something. Now, on the bottom of their name, they're saying at Triple H.
Yeah, you have the at sign for a particular individual, and you see that for Cena, you see that for I'm just looking at some of the ones I'm following. Goldust, Joey Styles. There's a lot going on. I mean, they just made a big deal about John Cena now having 1 million followers on Twitter. I mean, there's so much going on. One kind of non-news news story involving, of all things, Hogan, courtesy of the Twitter. Is it Twitter or the Twitter? I feel...
Twitter.
Just Twitter, okay. I've officially declared myself as old for calling it the Twitter.
Yeah, but Bret Hart used to do that, the WWE or whatever he would say.
Yeah, at the Royal Rumble, at the Survivor Series, at the WrestleMania. Well, I don't think he's ever said the WrestleMania, but
no.
But yeah, no.
What did Hogan say?
Hogan was talking about possibly bringing back the Hollywood character and kind of letting his Twitter followers vote whether they'd rather see Hollywood or the red and yellow Hulkster, and red and yellow overwhelmingly won, to which he kind of backed off later and said, okay, fans, I get it. You want to see the red and yellow.
But that was kind of stupid. That would backtrack everything what happened with him and Sting then, if he's asking people, you know, what they would rather have. You know what I mean? That would kind of defeat that whole purpose.
Well, I think it's more one of those where he wants to bring Hollywood back, but I think the fans are like, no, we want the red and yellow. We want the training, the prayers, the vitamins. You know, what was getting old 20 years ago is now, you know, it's become classic. It's become retro. It's become...
cool again.
I don't want to say it because I don't want to give any kind of credit to Michael Cole, but it's become vintage.
Oh boy,
Michael Cole. Oh man, he is another one. But with his challenge for JR, I mean, I've been following that a little bit, and I don't know. Obviously, Ross is going to be in Atlanta on Monday. He is going to take whatever this challenge is. I just hope that it's not something insane, like a 10-on-1 gauntlet match or something. I don't know, something to that effect. I just want to see Cole off the screen. So whatever it is, I mean, the only winning move for anyone really is for Jim Ross to win whatever this challenge is, to get Michael Cole off the screen and get Jim Ross doing what he does best, which is play-by-play.
Well, what he was saying on his Twitter, that he has no plans on coming back to Raw or WWE TV anytime soon. That was like a week ago, 2 weeks ago.
Well, that was also, you know, when the firing had occurred. But, I mean, Ross has maintained he has no clue what is going to go down this coming Monday.
Right.
And, yeah, I mean, that's intriguing. It's, I guess. I mean, but it's also, I would imagine, a little bit hectic on his part.
And, I think SmackDown should be live on Tuesdays every Tuesday, because and Impact needs to be live on Thursdays, because those two shows are like boring.
Now, what do you think makes the two shows boring? That I think is the fact that you can go onto the internet, read about what happens before it happens.
Yeah.
Do you think that takes away a little bit?
I didn't do it this Thursday, and I was still kind of bored with it. Believe it or not, I didn't do it this Thursday, and I was still kind of bored with it. You know what's gonna sound really sick is I miss Hogan.
You miss Hogan? Yeah,
I missed Hogan Thursday night. I know that's a bad thing to say, but that's what it was.
Wow, I'm speechless. I don't know. I think the thing that leaves me scratching my head is you have this number one contender match. You know, it's built up as a pretty big deal. Bobby Roode and Samoa Joe. You know, we're going to talk a little bit more about that coming back from our first break. But after that, you know, your closing segment for the show, something that we've seen for the second time that night, Eric Bischoff and the whole, I guess, family battle with his son Garrett, which, you know, a lot of people don't even know exactly what, you know, didn't really know that it was much of a story, because it kind of developed at Bound for Glory after sitting idle for about 11 months. And then all of a sudden, there's the payoff to it.
Right. It's pretty much the Reed Flair, David Flair, or Ric Flair thing.
Yeah, and oddly enough, Ric Flair's involved.
Yeah, I know.
It's like, well, I can't get David to do it, and Reed's become too much of a screw-up. So, all right, we'll get the Bischoffs involved.
Yep.
And see if we can get that going.
Yep. And one more thing, and I'll let you go. Mm-hmm. This whole Rock Cena thing is really, really stupid, and I'll tell you why. The whole thing is, what is The Rock going to do on Monday? Well, we're not stupid, because we already know what he's going to do, because you keep on flashing on the screen that coming back, The Rock in 7 years, for the first time in 7 years, is going to get in the ring and wrestle So we're not stupid. You're already telling us that he's going to wrestle. So why act like, what's he going to do? Choose Cena as his partner? Well, WWE, didn't they announce 3 months ago that The Rock and Cena were going to be attacking at Survivor Series? Oops.
Yeah, I don't know if that's a matter of the writers not paying attention to their own program or
their internet or WWE.com.
Yeah, there's lots of blame to go around as far as that. But yeah, there's kind of no suspense to it because you already announced what was going to happen. So after telling us what's going to happen, then asking us, well, what do you think's going to happen? Right. It's kind of a no-brainer.
Yeah, and apparently they pulled Mick Foley off the show from Madison MSG. I don't know if you know anything about that.
I do not know anything about that.
I read that a little while ago on one of the other websites. I don't know how legit that is, but yeah, you might want to take a look at that maybe during the break.
Yeah, I'll see what I can find on that, although the internet's been a little quirky today thus far.
All right, well, you have a good weekend. We'll talk to you next week.
All right, thanks, Dan. Appreciate the call. Wow, what a... Seems like a little bit of a downer, I mean, just overall. And I don't know necessarily what it is that's caught. Well, I guess I do. I mean, predictability and more talking than wrestling. I know that's become kind of a big deal over the course of the last, couple of days. Forgot to get Dan's thoughts on Halloween Havoc. That's all right. I'm sure he can put it up on the Facebook page. We'll take a look at that as well. Of course, we have a couple of Today in Wrestling histories. There were a couple of Halloween Havocs that occurred, and I know there was a lot of positive feedback when I looked back yesterday at Halloween Havoc 89, which was interesting, including the Thunderdome match, that main event, Ric Flair and Sting against the Great Muta and Terry Funk. Bruno Sammartino was the special guest referee, which I think a lot of people had forgotten about. So I love kind of looking back a little bit, but I want to know some of your Halloween Havoc memories, some of your favorites. The one that jumps out at me personally, going back to 97, was Eddie Guerrero and Rey Mysterio Jr. fighting for the Cruiserweight Championship. That was probably one of their best matches in the series that they had. And I don't know, that was the mask versus title match, if you remember. It was when Mysterio went out there in that whole purple, almost Riddler type mask, like a full body suit including a mask, so it would be more difficult to tear the mask off. And at the time, Eddie Guerrero had the Cruiserweight Championship, and Mysterio beat Guerrero that night. But I don't know, that match kind of just jumped out in my mind as far as one of the things that I remember from Halloween Havoc. And of course, those giant Slim Jim corner posts as they had sponsored the Halloween Havoc event. So that bit of yellow and red kind of jumped out at me as well. But we'll certainly get your thoughts on it. We'll take care of our first bit of business, come back, talk a little bit more TNA. We've already got 3 matches lined up for Turning Point. We'll go over that. Also, the rest of the Vengeance results. More of your calls, thoughts, and otherwise here on Pro Wrestling Weekly. 215-949-3232 or toll free at 888-922-2149. Those are the ways to get to us via the phones. You can also chime in on the Facebook, WBCB Pro Wrestling Weekly. This is Pro Wrestling Weekly here on 1490 WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com.